Welcome back to the Property Frontline. Today, I'm excited to say I am here with Robin Bentley from Bentley Real Estate. Hi, Robin.
Hi, how you going, Debra?
So Robin is a prominent real estate agent in one of my favourite areas of Rockhampton in Queensland. So what we're going to cover off today is a little bit of an overview of what's happening in Rockhampton and to get the inside story on why it's such a great place to buy for both home buyers and investors. So let's kick it off. And Robin, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and the service you provide for your clients?
Sure. Well, just quickly a little bit about my background. I've been a rural person most of my life up until about 15 years ago and entered the real estate industry. I worked for one of the major independents in town for 10 years. And obviously with a strong rural background, had the ability to sell rural properties and beautiful homes in town as well. So we launched Bentley Real Estate 3 years ago, and it has grown to 6. We have 3 people that are doing residential sales and property manager, and we also have a person who's dedicated to the larger rural properties, you know, the 20, 30, $40 million ones. So we've got quite a nice balance in our team, as well as our wonderful Tally, who's our admin girl. So, we're a family business, and we're just sort of, I guess, pretty well down-to-earth kind of people is how I love us.
Yeah, I really know what's going on.
Yes.
So, it's not like you've just, sailed into town and put up a sign, which, we do see.
Yes.
Okay, so let's kick it off with more detail on the Rockhampton market. So what are you seeing on the ground right now? And are buyers active? Like, how active are buyers? And how are the sellers, so how are the property owners reacting to all of it?
Sure. The market has been hot for probably about 4 or 5 years, I would say. Pretty well when COVID hit, to be honest. It started when we were all in lockdown, and it really hasn't stopped since COVID. There's lots of projects going on around Rockhampton, which I think adds to the the vibe that's going on here. There's Shoalwood Bay up at that the Army have purchased a lot of land up there. It's a major training base for Australia. So Rockhampton is obviously the place where a lot of the services are provided to the Army, building and food and all sorts of things. We have the Ring Road project going on as well. And there's the major part of the Ring Road project has kicked into gear in July this year. So we're seeing a big requirement for, I had an email the other day from a guy that's looking for 10 rental properties for his staff. And that, I believe it's about 2032 or 2033 before they're expected to complete. 17 kilometres plus a new bridge over the Fitzroy. So, that's a huge project that's coming to town. So that's what that's done, and has put a big pressure on our residential market. We're seeing multi-offers every day. Every property put up somewhere between 5 and 10 offers within. We usually give buyers an opportunity to have sort of 4 or 5 days, that not just sell it in the first sort of day on the market. I like to give people an opportunity to see that it's actually there. So we're seeing multi-offers. So it's difficult, I guess, for buyers to purchase, because a multi-offer situation isn't like it is when it's in a buyer's market, where you put a price on and then you see offers from that which are usually below. So and the rental market is very strong as well. Obviously from the Ring Road, that's and also just other projects going on. I mean, we are the central hub for Bowen Basin as well for the coalfields.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of families that are continuously, in our applicants this week, we had a new person arrive from South Africa who's got a sponsorship. We had another couple that have moved from Brisbane there's an airline, monstrous big shed out at the airport, Allianz Airlines, and they do aircraft maintenance. So there's just constantly people coming to town, and not to mention that we're a huge centre for the base hospital, which services the region basically all the way out to Longreach, which is about 700 kilometres away. And a constant influx of doctors and surgeons and specialists coming to the hospital. So, it's
and isn't there a huge farming industry? So isn't it like the beef capital of Australia?
It is. Yes, it's the beef capital of Australia, Rockhampton. Every 3 years we have beef, which is a huge, big expo. People book 3 years in advance for accommodation because, most days you drive by the motels, they're booked out. Like even right now, it's no vacancy. So, it's a lot of people buy properties and Airbnb them as well. And often, they're pretty hard to source as well. So it's an interesting time, having been in the industry for nearly 15 years in Rockhampton. So
and even though it has been really moving fast since COVID, what I've noticed is that you're on your second round of buyers. So people might have bought in, say, 5 years ago, and now they're selling because, things have increased so much.
Yes.
And what I'm often asked is, do you think we're too late for Rockhampton? And I'm like, absolutely not.
No.
Still really got a long way to go.
Has got a long way to go. There are developers that are doing new housing estates, but they're 2 or 3 years off being built. So I do think that when those homes, they're talking about 500-600 homes, and I think when they are built, that will sort of ease the pressure a little bit. But they've still got to build them, and tradespeople are just like dime a dozen.
That's Australia-wide at the moment.
Yes.
But it's great to be a tradie in Australia.
Absolutely. Yes.
Better than being a lawyer. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about demand, but like one of the concerns that some people say to me is, well, it will be hit by cyclones, but from my perspective, what I've seen is like cyclones really hit the coast, and because Rocky is a little bit further in, you just get the big rain dumps. What do you think, or how do you think things are going from like a flood perspective there? Because the impression is, Rockhampton floods.
I know. It's really funny, isn't it? How people ring and they go, but does it flood? There's only a very small area next to the Fitzroy River that floods. Obviously, there's odd occasions where we get a big dump of rain, like 20 inches of rain or something, and you get just local flooding. You might get a couple of inches in your backyard kind of thing, but there's only a very small area, and I would like to hope that the majority of agents would reveal that to buyers, that this, and you can. There is a website on the council, Rockhampton Regional Council, where you can go and look at the flood maps as well. So it's the main suburb is Depot Hill, that floods, and not all of Depot Hill floods, but there's a fair majority of it that'll get probably 800, like nearly a metre of water under the house. but they're all built up high on stumps, and people that have lived in that area, they're used to it. And it's really only sort of once every 20, 30 years that we get a big flood. So, and there's always plenty of warning. We get like 10 to 12 days notice because it's a huge catchment at Fitzroy. And there's measurers down the river, and you sort of know it's going to be a 6 metre flood or an 8 metre flood, or like in the river. Yeah. So, it's not something that I'd be concerned about. And as far as cyclones go, we're a very low risk, I think, for cyclones. We had Cyclone Marsha, I can't remember what year that was. It was about 15, I think, or something like that. And it was 30 or 40 years since there'd been a cyclone that had hit Rockhampton prior to that. So I think there's certainly other areas like Mackay and Townsville which are a much greater risk of cyclones. So,
yeah, that's why I prefer Rockhampton, quite frankly. Okay. So Rockhampton does have something for every price point, and that, of course, is one of the reasons that's really got a lot of buyers' attention at the moment, because you can get literally amazing properties for around about that $600,000, even the $500,000 mark. And really, there's no other area in Australia that offers like that capital growth drive. And I'm talking like well past the Olympics. So there's no other area in Australia that really has that, good buy-in price for the value that you get. So which are the suburbs or pockets of Rockhampton that are standing out as good options for home buyers, and which would you say are good for investors? And like there's probably like a mix in the middle.
I guess it totally depends on your budget. On the south side, it's landlocked, so there can be no more buildings unless a house burns down on the south side, because the river basically stops any further building of homes. So anything on the south side has it's interesting because I certainly specialise in the south side as well, and some agents sort of are more north side. It's funny, it's only a river between, but a house on the south side could be 50, 100, 150 more than one on the north side because of that landlocked, because people want to live close to the hospital or the schools or that kind of thing. So your main suburbs on the south side is the Range. It's basically a premium suburb, I would say, of Rockhampton. All the beautiful big old Queenslander homes are on Range mostly. Allenstown is another suburb that's quite a premium suburb, and Wandle on the south side. West Rockhampton is definitely one not to be overlooked. Basically, it's on the western side of the Range. So there's certainly buying opportunities to get, a cheaper house on that south side. So that's certainly a suburb that I'd be looking out for is West Rockhampton. And then on the north side is Frenchville and Norman Gardens. They're probably the two premium suburbs. And like all suburbs anywhere, you're going to have better areas and not so great areas. And again, I would say that that's just some local knowledge, doing some research, just making sure that there's not an excessive amount of public housing in the area, which they're scattered throughout Rockhampton. They're in every suburb. So but I think it's probably just more opportunal, I suppose, because you can get a really good buy in Frenchville. It might be something that needs a renovation in a good area. It might have been just one person that owned it forever and they're just elderly and haven't sort of kept it up to date, but the house next door might be worth $650, $700, and that one might be $550 because it's got a 1970s kitchen, etc. So yeah, I think it's hard to pinpoint where the buyers are. I think it's just looking at the overall market.
Mm.
Most agents in Rocky, I think, are using realestate.com as their portal. Domain is perhaps seen as a little bit more of a Southern Australia portal,
Yeah.
I think. And the other place I would look is also just on the individual companies' websites,
Yeah.
because then I know we've got some that are just, they're sort of like a soft listing, and they're on our website, not necessarily on realestate.com. So probably Google all the real estate agencies in Rockhampton and just check their websites out as well.
Yeah. But you touched on a very, very good point. Something that I really love about Rockhampton is there seems to be this really huge renovation culture there,
Yes.
which we've seen that sort of dissipate from some of the major cities because, you know, they're just not getting the returns for the money that they put in.
Yes.
But, yeah, so have you noticed that that's a growing trend?
I think it probably is, because a coat of paint for me is just an amazing, for an $80 tin of paint, what the results you can get from that, if whether you do it yourself or you have somebody come in. We have a complete row of tradespeople that work with us, because we've got a small rent portfolio. We've got around that 80, 90 mark. And we've got, the handyman, the painter and the whatever, and they work closely with us. So if we've got something, sort of, we go as a priority in their books, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think renovation wise, it's always a good opportunity to increase the value of a home, as long as you're not doing a major renovation. As far as new kitchens and bathrooms, they're always very expensive. But things like having an air conditioner, everybody in this climate likes to have an air conditioner in the bedrooms and things like that. And those things can always, get you a little bit more rent as well.
Yeah, makes it just that more attractive. And the other thing I've noticed is the issue of some properties don't have robes, so wardrobes. So
yes,
that's a little tip, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Another question. So, how are price expectations shifting? And are you seeing changes in negotiation behaviour or vendors, like sellers' expectations?
I think negotiation wise, I think the sellers have been, they're probably still quite blown away at what is achievable with price. And I think most agents are putting properties up as offers over a certain price. And honestly, we're seeing up to $100,000 above the offers over price. Even we can't sort of
forecast
know what is achievable. Like, all we can do is what everybody else does, and that's sort of say, well, this one sold for that and that one sold for this, and it's similar to yours, and maybe add an extra 20 because you think that's probably where it sits, and it can still be $40,000 more than what we think. So and I think sellers, I haven't experienced sellers being greedy, if that's the way that you'd like to put it.
Yeah, because they're good people in Rockhampton, of course.
Yes.
And they let good ones in, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so, final question. Rockhampton has a lot of future growth drivers in the pipeline. So you mentioned a few, like the Ring Road. The other one that a lot of people speak about is the fact that you're hosting the rowing, crocodile-infested waters.
Yes. I'm very excited for the Olympics to come. My own son was 3 times Australian champion in rowing.
Oh, really?
And he trained on the Fitzroy, and I used to go out when they were training in the
At 4 o'clock
tinny.
in the morning.
Yeah, with the rowing instructor and the little fat staffy dog that used to
Oh
jump
yeah.
the boat, and he'd swim around in the river, and the dog lived a long time, so didn't get eaten by a crocodile. I think it died of old age. So
All right.
yeah, there's a lot of crazy hype about it. So
Yeah.
the Rockhampton Grammar School, I think, they're sort of right up there with their children. If there was an issue, I'm sure they wouldn't be doing it. So
Yeah, look, it's going to be spectacular, and the other great thing about what the Queensland government is doing for the Olympics is they really spread the the construction
yes,
right across the state, and leaving like a good legacy, and that
yes. No, I'm excited for it for Rockhampton. I think, there's certainly going to be potential for Airbnbs and that kind of thing, and that'll
yeah
put more pressure on the market as well. So
yeah okay alrighty yeah. So wrapping up then, is there anything else that you think we need to cover, um, either for buyers? Well, for my clients, it's really people who are considering buying in.
yes, yep. I think, like I said to you earlier on the phone, it's really just getting a relationship with some of the agents in Rockhampton, and
Mainly you.
and just working with people that that you can trust, that
Yeah,
are going to tell you that the honest things about the property, especially if you can't view it yourself. I think walkthrough videos certainly have changed things considerably, I think.
yeah,
And I think it's great to be able to either do a video call with an agent and sort of be able to view the property, like look at the street around the property. I think is a big thing. When we do videos, we basically stand at the front and just do a pan of the street and say,
very important.
this
Yeah,
is, because then you can sort of get an idea whether it's a high traffic area or what the neighbouring houses are like. So yeah, that's probably my tip.
yeah. Yeah, okay. And I guess the other thing that I would always say, particularly for investors, is it's really important to have a really good property manager
Absolutely.
on your team. Yeah,
Yes,
you can
absolutely.
really communicate well with. Mm.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I think that's probably where we shine because we're a boutique agency,
yeah,
and we have our own residential properties, like for rent, like personally.
mm,
So understand how you've worked hard and you've managed to get some money together to buy an investment, and it is an investment. I mean, you don't want to be having money tied up in something that's costing you money and losing you money.
yeah,
Otherwise, you just put it in the bank.
mm,
So it's important that your assets being looked after, and we do our darndest to do that for people.
yeah, and keep the rent up to the market levels. But yeah,
Exactly. And tenant selection as well, I think, is a big
oh
thing.
yeah,
Certainly not just grabbing the first applicant and then having to deal with the wreck later.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think investors don't realise that pivotal work is skill. So
Absolutely. We drive by, like if they're local, we'll literally get in the car and check out the addresses of where they live, just see
yeah,
whether their lawn, whether there's excess cars,
mm,
dogs, excess dogs, all those kinds of things, because people tend to just sometimes make their application look very fluffy. And
yeah,
then, then when you see the real deal, you go, no, next.
yeah,
Yeah, like,
exactly.
we do we do a lot of background searching on tenants that we can ring
Mm,
that previous property manager, have a chat with them, and just sometimes something that's quite frustrating with applications is often people put an application in with their name and their address where they live, but no kind of reference check from their property manager. So then it's the matter of giving them a call and saying, hi, do you have such and such in your property? Yes. How did that go? They're a good tenant. there's a list of questions that we're allowed to ask, and we just stick within those boundaries.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, there's much more to it. But once you get that right, then your property is much more, well, it'll perform better and give you less headaches. I can't tell you how many times I have actually picked up a property because the owner thought that the property was bad, but it was just bad property manager.
Yes.
So,
yes. We do 3 monthly inspections, so that certainly keeps a toe on everything as well.
yeah.
Don't let things get out of hand. So yeah, you certainly hear those horror stories in town of we haven't seen our property manager for 2 years, and you go, really? How can they be charging you for something that they're certainly not doing? So
Yeah, it's
anyway.
incredible what some people will tolerate, and but that's why we're here, to make sure our buyers are protected, and home buyers live next door to really good people. Alrighty, well, thanks so much, Robin.
Thanks, Debra.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you would like to reach out to Robin, we'll have her contact details in the description box. And also, if you would like to contact us, if you'd like some help buying your next property, whether it's a home or an investment. But otherwise, we're going to say bye for now. So bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Deb.